Hi Pisces, here's a general look at your solar chart for February 2012. Now this month the energies could manifest as a pull towards things going on within you, but also things going on behind the scenes, work going on behind the scenes, people not realizing just how much work you're putting in behind the scenes. Could be also to do with your subconscious, your dreams. And if you do meditation or healing or psychic work, very much the light is going to be shining on those types of activities. But also emotions, anything that's just below the surface normally is going to have more of an emphasis. It is going to be more triggered and sensitized. So your emotional reactions, your moods, you've got to watch, you've got to be aware that they may scatter you or distract you. You take your eye off the ball, because there is like this little squall of energy, which is kind of changing your moods. We're living in very unusual times anyway, with a lot going on across the planet. So, and you're a sensitive person. Just remember perhaps to sleep on something, or to sit and still your mind, to feel in your gut what to do before you actually make a solid decision and go herring off in this direction or that direction. Now, the current position of the Sun is activating the area of your solar chart to do with compassion and higher service. You get brownie points in heaven, but like I say, emotions, because we are in these human vehicles, these human bodies, that can get also in the way. So you may find that you've just got to make yourself available. You've got to give more space to something or body. You've got to do just a little bit more. You've got to just go that extra mile for a little while here. Putting personal preferences on one side. But you can always balance that out by going off and doing something nice for yourself in another area. You can also choose to use this energy at the moment. In fact, it's brilliant energy for anything to do with imaginative work, spiritual practices, things like yoga, meditation, but also psychic work, healing work, counseling type work, anything where you are working for the common good for others in a service-orientated way, but very much behind the scenes, or in some kind of cloistered environment, some sort of bubble, some sort of circle. Okay, so there might be quite a lot going on within you, you just need to see to business, put your house in order as much as ever we can. It's just quite a brief transit, really. But watch out, because at this time of the year, when the Sun is here, and also with Mercury, you can fall down the same old hole in the road, because you've let the same old emotional knee-jerk reaction get in your way, So anyway, just be aware of that. Now, Mercury, until mid-month, your mind tends to be very inward-looking, introspective, but very, very, that wonderful intuition of yours, that wonderful imagination of yours, that wonderful ability to understand symbols and dreams is very, very much emphasized and increased. Excuse me. And you can be more the hermit than ever, a solitary soul just getting on with something. Perhaps as a form of preparation, you see, or perhaps, just because you've got to be there for somebody, or for some others. So as you are a little preoccupied, to say the least, until mid-month, you could find yourself just kind of zoning out, because you've got this tremendous draw inwards, zoning out whilst in the middle of a sentence even. And it doesn't matter how old you are either, or like not being able to find a word that you're looking for, or being, blipping in and out of this time-bound awareness. I mean, it can even be like that. So just, go with it. This is what's meant to be happening. We've always got to function on a physical level anyway, so you're not going to go too far away. Listen to your inner guidance, perhaps reflect upon elements of the past, because some of you could be thinking more about the past at the moment, and past decisions, and what you could have said, should have said, didn't say, do, whatever. and just look for those moments when you can just sit quiet, or just go out walking, or listen to music or whatever, and just trust that there's support coming from realms unseen, from invisible hands, and a lot of love there. So all you have to do basically is to be in this dimension, hold a vision calmly and steadily, and set the dream of how you like it to be, whatever it is, the job, the relationship, the health, the future, and just project that with your emotional kind of knowing, and be ready to check out the hunch, or rather not the hunch but the omen, and to see how well you're doing with it, and then just, like I say, steadiness and clarity, and holding the dream, holding the vision. And such an approach can work well for you during that transit. And then from mid-month, then you're more outward looking, then you're more outgoing, you're engaging more with the sort of ordinary world around, and mentally more on the go, probably mentally sharper, mentally more alert. A good time to develop your communication skills and creative self-expression. But getting a little bit nervy or scattered sometimes is something that can happen with Mercury in your sign, so just be aware of that as well. And it's likely to be a very sociable time when you're more on the move. There's more, you on the phone more, you connecting with others more, you corresponding more, and actually until the 8th you've got Venus in your sign, and then even after the 8th you've got Venus in a very potentially very lucrative area. So from mid-month you could do very well at talking yourself into something, or talking your way into a bargain, or getting a good deal, or you can help your credit rating, can help fill your piggy bank. It can definitely expand your social circle, whether that is for a personal or professional reason. Like I say, Venus is in your sign until the 8th, giving you this kind of feel-good factor, even though your attention will be very sort of inwards, though. And probably you'll be wanting to be, connect with others and be selflessly supportive, or have to be selflessly supportive. But that's kind of your thing, Pisces, that is one of the strong themes in your sun sign anyway. On the other hand, you could be feeling a little bit self-indulgent, particularly from the 19th, actually, but good time for some retail therapy. There comes a time when it is necessary, and this would be the time, but you might not feel up for it until after mid-month. But definitely people are going to see you as being more attractive, actually, early month, and somebody could take a shine to you, or you just come across as more charming, more persuasive, more diplomatic, and that could be good news for you in a business sense, as well as perhaps in your private life. But like I say, you will be more aware of your inner processing until mid-month, and it's after mid-month that you actually get more up to speed with things. And then from the 8th, there could be a more lucrative time. You're more in the flow, anyway, of abundance there. Just make sure the flow isn't coming from you totally out into the world. Realise that with Venus there until the end of the month, if you angle yourself right, the flow should be coming towards you. Yes, because Venus doesn't have an opinion on it. It's just the way you play your cards, as it were. Definitely social interaction and teamwork could be centered around a money-making project there, and you and someone could do quite well. Or you get to meet a lot more people because it's in a money-making sort of sense scenario. And definitely could give you, fatten up the piggy bank, and give you a bit of a morale boost as well. Now, Mars is in a very, very long transit in the same place in your solar chart until July, and it started this transit in November, and it is in your opposite sign, Virgo. It's in your relationship sector. And so for several months, for these months we're in now, meeting and greeting and connecting with others on like a one-to-one maybe, or teaming up with someone is going to be a real strong key feature. And it's kind of advisable, not to want to go it alone, although Mars does like to be the initiator. Mars does like to lead. So just be careful that if you are working with somebody in a team, or you've met somebody, or you are getting bonding with somebody, that you're not over assertive, because you can start being like that without realizing that's what you're doing, because Mars is very feisty, very assertive, even aggressive energy. However, it's very productive energy, it's very dynamic energy, so you and someone could really do business together and do very, very well, as long as neither side, tries to dominate, and then there's problems of tension, you see. So it's finding the balance and finding how each of you can go forwards, whether that's in a professional business sense or whether that's in a your personal life. Also, it might not be the same sort of teaming or interaction over all the months. There might be you interacting one-to-one with a selection of others. It amounts to the same thing. Mars here does sometimes lead to a conflict of opinion, how to do things, how to come at something. But as long as you know which side your bread is butter and understand that teaming up with another in a professional sense or in a personal sense is actually going to be advantageous for you and invaluable, even, because kind of two hearts and minds are better than one, but you've got to make sure it's the right one as well. Yes, there might be, an initial connecting which actually doesn't work. So there might be, you might have to be a little bit patient. Mars is pretty short on patience, though. So just don't be hasty and sort of throw your lot in with somebody before you kind of, like I said earlier, slept on it. Because that Mars energy can mean that somebody seems to come across to you too strong, or there's conflict, or you come across it, or you're just too impatient and too hasty to get together with this person. So anyway, so there you are. That you can be aware of those things and strive not to let somebody else's agenda, their pace, kind of be uncomfortable for you, or tire you out, or make you feel a little bit uncomfortable inside. Because remember, you've got this wonderful gut intuition which you need to give it your attention to, and don't be impulsive, because Mars can be very impulsive. Don't be impulsive and throw caution to the wind in a relationship either. Having said all that, you can do really, really well if you team up with the right person really, really well. Now, in February and March, Mars is actually going retrograde, so this is going to kind of slow things down and kind of bring up frustrations about, this thing isn't going as fast or as well, or as, originally hoped, or that, whatever, or somebody seems to put a block there, and you get annoyed about that. Or it might be somebody's demanding, somebody's going through a phase or something and they're just demanding, or maybe you're going through the phase and you're anyway, it can be sort of a bit exasperating and feel as though it's going too slow, or it's not going quite how you want it to go, and that tends to be just in the retrogrades. But it'll still, the overview is still that, teaming up, or doing this one-to-one. Maybe it's not teaming up with one person, maybe it's doing a series of one-to-ones in some way over these months is how it's going to manifest itself. is going to be a good thing if you see it for what it is, the piece of the puzzle for what it is. But then when April rolls around, then you're going to start to feel as though you're in gear, you're going forwards, it's beginning to make sense, it's all coming together. That's going to be from April onwards. And if you've I guess stuck with it previously, or stuck with the spirit of it, and not put up with something which is obviously feeling regularly out, making you feel regularly out of sorts. So anyway, the Mars energy there can mean that you and someone can really do business together. Now from the 19th, the way should be clear for you to pursue what is important to you personally, because that's going to be when the sun comes into your sign. Now every month I speak about slow moving outer planets, but this month I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to mention Neptune, because actually you can go to my website and you can read, it's all written down there. But I just want to mention your ruling planet Neptune, which is doing this amazing move this month. Since 1998, Neptune has been in the sign before yours, Aquarius. And on February the 4th, it's going to move into its home sign, Pisces, your sign. So, for many, many years, you may have been very, very aware of the intangible realms of help coming from beyond, or maybe you've been very much there as the bridge, the facilitator, the enabler for others, and you've gotten so used to doing it, it's been there since 1998. It is part of your character anyway, but you've had maybe to sacrifice yourself and felt abandoned maybe, or betrayed, or there's been a sense of sort of inner emotional torment sometimes, maybe with Neptune there, but you've been learning and maturing through that transit of Neptune there. And of course you have had a lot of help from, as I say, the realms beyond. Call them your angels, your guides, your helpers. They've been, those in your family who've passed over to the other side, whatever it is. So that's where Neptune's been all of these years. Now Neptune is moving into your sign, into its home. It's going to work very powerfully from there until 2025. And one way, there's many, many ways this is going to pan out, and more than ever anybody like me could possibly know. But one way is that the vibe of Neptune around compassion and service and higher service for the common good, the good of all, and all of your other Piscean traits are likely to be very magnified. So that's going to mean, as this transit unfolds over these years, that amazing things, your best side, like your compassion, your artistic ability, your imagination, your healing ability, your ability to see into realms beyond, your ability to shift even, into realms beyond. But also the flip side of that is self-deception, self-delusion, escapism, and like exiting behavior, that can also be more highlighted, and being seen not as you really are as well. Celebrities often have a strong Neptune, movie stars, pop stars, football people, they often have strong Neptune rules the feet actually. They often have strong Neptune because Neptune means that the public doesn't see you as you really and truly are, warts and all, which is just an ordinary fragile human being like the rest of us, because we all like heroes and heroines and gods and goddesses, so we kind of project onto them, and those are often people who've got a very prominent strong Neptune. Don't have to be a Piscean, might just have a strong Neptune in their natal chart, but gods and goddesses they are not. And it kind of feels weird if somebody is looking upon you in that way, because that's not you really. But of course some of them get deluded into believing that they are, but that's a whole other story. So that is a kind of stereotypical way that Neptune works in experience and with character. And you Pisceans born in the very first couple of days, or with the first couple of degrees of Pisces rising, are likely to feel this influence mostly over February. And that's it for this month. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, you might like to listen to those forecasts as well. See if they make sense to you. Just pick out the bits that do. And I wish you well, and I'll see you the next time.